Mr. President,
The senator from Hawaii is recognized.
I was listening very carefully to my friend, my colleague from Texas, on his comments regarding the process by which we give our advice and consent to all of our judicial nominees, but of course, particularly our responsibility with regard to Supreme Court nominees. And there seemed to be some concern that we were rushing the nomination process for Judge Jackson. Nothing could be further from the truth, because everybody remembers the speed with which nominee Amy Coney Barrett was put on the court from the time of her nomination to the hearing to her being sworn in. So there will be enough time for all of the members of this body to consider Judge Jackson's nomination, not to mention we had already confirmed her twice, once to the district court and another time to the circuit court. It's not as though she is unfamiliar to us. And also any kind of connotation that somehow President Trump's nominees were ill-treated, again, nothing could be further from the truth, because the whole process, especially with regard to Justice Kavanaugh, was with the utmost desire on the part, particularly of the Democrats on the Judiciary Committee, to get to the bottom of certain allegations against Justice Kavanaugh that were highly serious. So to cast any kind of doubt or aspersions on the work of the members of the committee, especially the Democrats on the committee, with regard to President Trump's nominees, are not well taken. Let me move on to why I am here this morning, or this afternoon. It is not an exaggeration to say that we are at a crisis point. Republican legislatures all across the country are continuing to pass bills that control our bodies. And at the same time, Trump's Supreme Court nominees are closer than ever to overturn Roe v. Wade. There are 26 states across the country that are likely, if not certain, to ban abortion if the Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade. There is no question that these restrictions that have been enacted by states all across the country have an incredibly discriminatory impact and will disproportionately harm those who are already facing far more obstacles when it comes to accessing health care, including women of color, women with low incomes, people with disabilities, LGBTQ+ individuals, rural women, and many more. For over 50 years, Roe v. Wade enabled women to make the decision about whether or not they want to start a family. But today, because of new abortion care restrictions, 90% of counties in the U.S. do not have an abortion provider. Women are faced with impossible decisions, and as a result, will be forced to have babies they can't afford, didn't plan for, or are unable to care for, or faced to have babies under life-threatening conditions. And tragically, women may also die because they lack the access or resources to safely end pregnancy. Abortion bans are a matter of life and death. Women across the country are under attack, and so too are the healthcare professionals who provide safe and legal abortions. Today is Abortion Provider Appreciation Day. This day was established to honor Dr. David Gunn, who was killed on March 10, 1993, outside his abortion clinic in Pensacola, Florida, by a white supremacist, anti-abortion extremist. Abortion providers are compassionate, credentialed, and highly trained professionals who allow women to actually make choices about their own bodies, their futures, and whether or not they want to start a family. And they do so without judgment and in the face of violence. Tragically, Dr. Gunn's murder was just the first known instance of a murder of an abortion provider. Across the country, abortion providers experience intimidation, harassment, threats, and violence from anti-abortion extremists. According to NARAL, between 1977 and 2015, there were over 7,200 acts of violence carried out against abortion providers by anti-choice extremists. These included 42 bombings, 185 arson attacks, and thousands of death threats, bioterrorism threats, and assaults. Every single day, even right here in DC, anti-choice extremists station outside of abortion clinics and harass staff and patients. 14 states and the District of Columbia have needed to enact laws to protect abortion providers and patients, including laws that prohibit blocking the entrance to a clinic, threatening or intimidating staff, damaging property, and more. And 3 states have even had to go so far as to establish a bubble zone to protect people within a certain distance of a clinic. These doctors, nurses, and staff fear for their lives just to provide access to reproductive care. Being an abortion provider is a dangerous profession in this country. What other medical profession deals with this level of harassment and violence just to provide medical services, medical care? For what other medical profession do we have to create a bubble zone of protection? On Tuesday, I joined Senator Peters and my colleagues in the House to introduce a resolution to honor all healthcare providers who keep patients safe and healthy and do their part to help provide access to reproductive care, including abortions. And today, on Abortion Provider Appreciation Day, I stand on the Senate floor to affirm my commitment to ensuring the personal safety of all abortion providers and clinic staff, and thank these fearless individuals for maintaining abortion access to communities across our country. A big aloha and mahalo to these courageous people. Mr. President, I yield the floor.